With our 450 race recap, brought to you by our friends at Worx. Always well hung, just like Justin Barsha
and Cameron McAdoo.
And I'm off the McAdoo train here. We're done with that. So, all right. So here we go. Highpoint 450 class. Jet goes 1-1, and can we just say missed opportunity by all these guys because he is wounded.
He's very wounded.
Very wounded. And for them to not jump all over this opportunity, his brother included, but especially Chase Sexton, huge miss.
Big miss.
So you want to know a funny story? So when he crashed at Hangtown, our West Coast contributor Issac hit me up, and he said, "How long?" That's you.
That is me.
Can we silence that?
We can silence that.
Thank you.
Didn't know it was on.
First podcast, it's acceptable, but the second time, you're going to get something thrown at you. Anyway,
Perfect.
So when he lost the points lead at Hangtown, Issac hit me up, and he goes, "Hey, man, how long do you think before Jet gets the points lead back?" And I said, "Redbud." And he goes, "No, you're fucking crazy. It won't happen before Washougal Unadilla." I said, "Nope, Redbud." Here we are. He's probably going to have it back next week, to be honest with you.
I think you might be right.
Unless Hunter magnificently goes 2-2 next week or something happens to Jet again, he's going to have that points lead next week, or in 2 weeks when we go back to racing.
For sure. And Hunter's starts have been great.
They've got those Honda starts figured out.
1-2.
Yep.
Every time. It's been super impressive. And he's been riding phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you think Jet was going to not win that race yesterday? Especially second moto.
It's hard to bet against Jet.
That second moto was rough, though. And when Sexton got around him, so again, Issac and I were talking yesterday, that second moto, he was like, dude, I think Jet was so smart that he was like, dude, Sexton's pushing over his head, he's going to hit the deck. Now, that being said, I do not blame Sexton. I know there's a lot of people on the internet here going to jump down Sexton's throat. Oh, fucking typical Sexton. Look, dude, that rut he hit in just the right spot and pushed the top out, like, that could happen to anybody.
Anybody. And that track was super rough, super deep.
Yep.
A lot of different conditions around the whole track. You'd have dry, dusty spots, and then you'd have super deep, sticky, muddy, nasty. Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. So that wasn't really Chase's fault. That was a bad luck thing, essentially, with pushing through that rut. But if that doesn't happen, and this is where my homerness for Jet is going to actually wane a little bit, if that doesn't happen, I don't know that Jet wins that moto.
That's hard to say.
Dude, he was... I mean, Stu has pointed out, he was sitting and, like, he wasn't looking Jet-esque.
That's true. And I think I heard an interview somewhere, or maybe another podcaster, or somebody saying that he was doing it to rest the body, make things a little easier. Because, yeah, I mean, he stands up 99% of the time.
Yep.
So maybe he was trying not to favor that side where he's got the gash. I don't know. But Chase also did seem to be kind of pushing a little bit above his head. And then when he got around Jet, I almost feel like Jet was just kind of like, oh, let's just let him go and see what he does. We got plenty of time left. And then let him by, went right back by. I mean, how many times did they trade back and forth?
3 or 4.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very interesting thing. And the thing is that I'm not always sure that Jet is fully aware of what he's doing, because in order to do some of the things he does, it's some super high level thinking, which I like Jet, and I'm not saying he's dumb, but I just don't know that all that is processing as he's going. But I think for somehow subconsciously it's programmed into him, and he is able to do things like, hey, Chase, go ahead, let's see what you got type deal. Because I do think it was a situation too of he was like, you know what, if you got it, like whatever. Long term, me not hitting the deck to push over my head to beat you this moto is way better for me than me hitting the deck again. But I mean, dude, he goes 1-1. He's 8 points down. He was 23 points down
That's crazy.
2 rounds ago.
That's crazy.
And now he is 8.
I think Chase, it almost seems like he gets a little too anxious, like he's got to be in the lead instead of sort of, like guys say, let it come to you.
Yeah.
He seems to push in places where maybe it's not appropriate to push.
He doesn't have patience.
He has no patience. Very little.
Yep. He is one of those guys. Who was talking about it the other day that I heard? Oh, it was Weege talking about it on the Weege show yesterday. So old school, you go Ricky, you go Stu. How did they win? It was just this. Right. And Chase is one of those guys that's like, you just win by you just twist it fucking harder. Right. Much like Deegan, who we'll get to. You just twist it harder. Jet does not twist it harder. Jet is, for some reason, as dumb of a kid as he is, which again, I'm not saying he's dumb, but he's this
still a kid,
goofy kid, somehow knows that like this does not equate to doing what you need to do, which is winning championships and titles.
Yeah, and I think Stu even said on the broadcast that those guys, both the brothers, were riding in a taller gear, and you could barely hear their bikes.
I like how they quit talking there during the broadcast to hear that.
Yes.
So that we could just listen to it.
For sure. And everything, like it does, it loosens up the suspension. You're not jerking yourself through. Maybe that's not the best term, but
hard as morning wood, man. Hard as morning wood.
Yeah, for sure. Like you're not jerky in turns and through the ruts where in the rough stuff, just a lot smoother, and it showed.
Can you tell me the other rider that does that? Pro racer, still riding, still relevant, not currently racing. Ken Roxon.
Oh, yeah.
He does the same thing.
Yep.
If you listen to him, like when we're at a race like Red Butter Ironman, you can't hear him. Jet and Hunter, same way.
Yeah.
So, and that's what wins things the way it does for Jet. So, so 8 points out. I mean, he either has the points lead at Southwick or he has the points lead at Redbud. Take your pick. And the only way he doesn't get it at Southwick is if Hunter goes 2-2.
Yeah.
So, because Jet's surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, really fucking good at all these tracks that are coming up.
Yep.
So
I wondered how long it would take him to recover from injury, and
well, now we got a week off.
And yeah,
they're all fucked. Yeah. They had last week and
He'll
this
be
week.
Golfing.
Oh yeah, they had last week and this week to jump on him, and they all completely foobarred it, including his brother. His brother knew. His brother knew the most out of anybody
for sure,
and he still foobarred it away. And like me and Hunter are best friends, but he did not capitalize here. So Sexton goes 3-2 for second, and again, I don't blame that crash on him. He rode great, but this is just... Is it funny to you? Do you remember the year... Well, let's see, where are we at? 24. Do you remember 22? When we had Sexton and Tomac battling like this? And do you remember how, oh man, Chase is so smooth? And then last year, we watched Chase ride against Jet, and we go, wow, Chase is not that smooth.
Not that smooth. Not in
so
comparison.
It's super ironic that that's how it went. Now, with that being said... I bet Chase is off that KTM sooner rather than later.
You think so?
Dude, the struggles they had in Supercross. Now here, let me explain out this whole theory here. The struggles they had in Supercross that they couldn't get the bike figured out. Okay? Now you get into motocross, and again, here we are. That bike's not... How many times did we talk about setup yesterday? They were fucking doing it on the broadcast. They were dropping the forks. On the fucking broadcast.
I heard today, I don't remember who it was. Maybe, I'm not even sure. I listened to a few things today, but it changed shock, too.
Yeah. And you don't drop the forks and change the shock. Like, that's not a fucking thing. You're doing that, you're fucking...
major change.
That's a fire sale.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, because I have some backdoor knowledge...
Oh, do you?
I sure fucking do, in multiple ways here, buddy.
Excellent.
But let's talk about the suspension at the KTM group. So I have some backdoor knowledge that Sexton wanted to ride TCD suspension setup.
Really?
Yes. So I might have talked about this before. In fact, I know I talked about it before, but I'm not sure I went completely into depth. So Barsha was the first guy to jump on TCD setup for...
Saw that.
Which KTM and the whole group was, okay, fine, no problem. You're just a gas rider. We don't fucking care, right? As much as they don't care about Husky, gas is even a step below that. So, okay, you can ride that. Well, then what I've heard is that Mookie and Sexton jumped on that bike and rode it with that suspension and went, holy fucking shit, we need this. Which is partially where, do you remember when Michael Lindsay pointed out that they had the fucking Showa inserts on Chase's bike and everybody freaked out? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Those probably came from them.
Interesting.
Now, and then what I've heard is that KTM reached out to TCD and said, hey, we need a set of suspension from you. And TCD was like, well, we're not going to send you a set of suspension, but we're more than willing to help. Because
Nice.
they're not going to get anything out of this, right?
Right.
KTM's never going to acknowledge it.
Never.
They're basically just doing it to do it. Tim, who's the owner of TCD there, has a background with Mookie. Used to be his mechanic or something. Somehow there's a tie-in there,
Okay, I
right?
think
Where
I
they're
heard that,
close.
yeah.
And him and Barsha are close, too, which is why he will help out with these guys. But anyway, so KTM wanted the suspension. And Tim's like, I'll send you all the specs. We're more than willing to help. But we're not going to just send you a fucking set of forks and a shock. And KTM wasn't happy. And then lawyers got involved for whatever reason. And I don't know the whole backstory of that. That was the sum total of the information I got. Is they got to the point that lawyers got involved, right? So now, with this, I go, this is really where we wanted to go. Instead of just saying, okay, cool, come on in, help us out, let's fucking do this. You want to become all turdy about it, and now this is what you're doing, is fire sailing between first and second moto, 4 rounds into outdoors.
That's wild.
It's a bad look.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that we know about it from the broadcast is a bad fucking look.
Yeah.
Of you fire sailing, because most of the time it's like, oh yeah, we made a suspension change. I'm not physically watching you drop the forks and change a shock.
Right.
It's not good. It's not good. And that's why I think I don't think he's long for that team.
Where do you think he's going to go?
That I don't know yet. I haven't started to process that, but here's what I'll tell you. I'm not 100% sure it's all KTM. It's partially KTM. So from what I understand, again, some backdoor knowledge here, is that it used to be that the Japanese brands were totally against trying anything outside the box. There was a box that they all had created for their platform. That was where you stayed in. The KTM group, Dungey era, would do fucking anything.
Yeah.
I've heard it switched. I've heard the KTM group now has a box, a la Cooper Webb last year.
Cooper Webb, yep.
Which is why you get, Sexton talking about running the different forks and Webb going, weird, because that's what I wanted to fucking do last year. And then you have the Japanese brands are like, well, the box is now this big. Let's fucking, and we need to go outside the box. Let's go outside the box. Which is why you have Honda doing what they're doing. Now, the other part of this, there was a low-key jab I heard at some point from Darren Lawrence about guys not understanding how to set up bikes. And that low-key jab, in my opinion, if you read in the tea leaves, was towards Sexton and his dad.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Because they however it was, I don't remember where I was listening to it or whatever, but they were talking to him about setting up the Honda and how, Sexton had some issues with it or whatever. And I don't even think they said Sexton. They were just like, there was some known issues or whatever. And he goes, well, yeah, some of these guys don't know how to set up. Darren Lawrence is an extension of HRC now. He is building parts.
For sure.
He is testing shit. He is putting stuff on the bike and telling the boys to go fucking ride. Yep. And then they come back, they give feedback, and then boom, they change it or whatever the fuck they need to do. He's a full-blown extension, and Honda's listening to him. So, like I said, there was a low-key jab. So I'm not sure that this is all a KTM thing. This may be a Sexton and his dad thing. And I've made comments about this, and I don't have anything against Sexton's dad or anything. From what I understand, he's an okay guy. I have heard some rumblings behind the scenes that they're not the easiest people to work with.
I heard that too.
But I'm just not sure that he necessarily knows what he's doing or has an engineering mind to help do what they need to get done.
Do you think they're doing too much? to the bike and not
That could
focusing
be-
enough on things like technique and when to push, when not to push?
No, I think they focus a little too much on technique, to be really honest with you. Which is why Chase's technique is so flawless. His elbows are always
It
up.
is.
He's always in the proper position. Like
This is true.
it's fucking flawless. He is the robotic side of technique when it comes to riding a dirt bike, where Jet has that, but then there is a certain amount of free form that Jet has also, which allows him to get away with some of the things he gets away with. Now, saying that, like I said, it's one of those situations where I'm not quite sure that it's 100% team oriented. I think he needs someone else in his corner. And where I think it leads to is I think he needs his dad there as I hate using the term, but like a man friend / practice riding or riding coach per se. But I think he needs a practice mechanic that is more engineering mindset, a la a Darren Lawrence. And I think that would help him. Because I don't think Kier has that in him. I just don't think so. And no, nothing against Kier. Kier's done a great job. I mean, your kid's a 450 Supercross champion. He's made millions and millions of dollars. He's done everything that you could possibly ask in the sport. But I just think he lacks that smidge more that would put him above the Lawrences.
Yeah, you think Roger and Ian are allowing him to do too much, maybe?
No, I think they just got lost on that platform. We saw it in the 23. Everybody kind of hated the 23. Then they got to the 23 and a half, was a little better. Then we got to the 24, it was a little better. And now we're on the 24 and a half, which is supposedly better to some people. Like Bial's the only one on the 24 chassis still. 24 and a half is what everybody else is on brand-wise. I think the KTM group itself got a little bit lost.
It's pretty easy to get into deep water and just off the map on on setup stuff too.
I mean,
I'm just an old fat vet rider guy, but it's pretty easy to go
yeah.
way beyond what you need to do.
Well, I think they went in a wrong direction with the frame, from what I understand through people, because the newer frames, they had put a different bar in somewhere, and I don't know all the technical details on it, but it made
gussets or something.
Yeah, it made it stiffer, made it a lot stiffer, and it wasn't as easy to ride because those steel frames are supposed to flex way more, and from what I understand, it was stiffer than all the aluminum ones.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard somebody talking. It might have been Kiefer talking about that.
Yep.
How the steel frames flex differently now than maybe they did.
Yeah.
Historically.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'll tell you what, though, his chances of beating Jet here, barring something else happening, I mean, I give it 25% or less.
It doesn't look great. No.
It's not good.
I agree.
Like, the streak was broke, but and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that ride at Hangtown was really, really good.
Unbelievable.
Flash in the pan. And it only happened because Jet was hurt. If Jet's not hurt, that doesn't happen.
I tend to agree with that too.
Because he doesn't beat Jet that first moto, and then then he doesn't have the confidence to do what he did the second moto. Plus, Jet is another 10 seconds ahead of Plessinger and not cramping. So, all right, Hunter goes 2-3 for third. It's amazing how him and his brother are just cruising that first moto, isn't it?
Cruising, literally.
I mean,
Cruise control.
He's 2 seconds behind Jet, and neither one of them are pushing, and they put 30 fucking seconds on Chase. No problem.
So you think that Chase's bike change was for the worse?
Oh yeah.
They were scrambling, and
They
were
were
desperate to do
absolutely scrambling. Which we've seen this with KTM before, though. Think back. Did you follow it super close in 2015? No. Was that when it was? Yeah, 2015.
something. Not super close.
No. What was the year Tomac was fucking killing it on that Honda? It must have been 15.
I don't recall.
So that year that Tomac rode Geico 450, the year before he went to Cowie, first 5 motos, he put a minute and a half on Dungey in second place, both, like, all 5 motos. Like, Hangtown, he was like 3 seconds a lap faster all moto.
That's wild.
Like, to the point that you usually had Dungy be like, yep, we're going to go back, we're going to work hard, whatever. Happy-go-lucky Dungy there, who, always positive, was like, yeah, I don't fucking know what to do. Like, I don't have a clue. Like, I mean, that was the point he was at the end of Hangtown, because, like I said, Eli put, I think it was a minute the first moto, and he put a minute and a half on him. Like, he almost lapped him the second moto. I really think that what they put on them, and this, like I said, this goes back to history of KTM, is when it gets that bad, they just start throwing the kitchen sink at shit and seeing what happens. And yeah, here we are.
That's pretty wild.
So, Hunter gets second in this series, right?
I kind of think so, yeah.
Barring something crazy.
Health issues.
Or if his brother gets hurt.
Or if the underlying health issue that they're not talking about.
Well, so that's interesting because from what I understand, it's diabetes.
I think that's what I heard too.
Which is interesting because now if they know, here's the thing. We know what it is. The tricky part is that has anybody ever tried to combine a diabetic with performance enhancing drugs? Is that what our issue is? Is that we can't quite figure out the right remedy there? I didn't say that.
I don't know. Maybe we should ask Coach Rob. Maybe he knows a little about how that would all work together.
Coach, that's a fucking 3-hour conversation there. It's a whole podcast in itself there.
For sure.
Of him trying to explain that. But, yeah, it makes me wonder of, like, is there something... I'm not saying... I'm just saying, and again, I don't give a shit, because I think these guys all should use it, because the amount of races that we have to do and how we have to peak for so long and all this bullshit like that, like, this is a problem. It's a problem health-wise for the guys. I believe they should be able to use them strictly because it would allow our guys to stay healthy longer and allow us to fucking see these guys for longer. Like, I want to watch Jet go for 10-plus years here.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I want to watch all these guys do that. But I can't do that if they get fucking Epstein-Barr or any of that bullshit and can't fucking do it.
Where do you set the bar, though? How do you regulate that and what's okay and what's not okay?
Fuck it. Make it all happen. I don't care with all pro sports. Make it all happen. You want to watch guys hit fucking 47 base hits, or you want to watch them hit 47 fucking home runs?
Home runs, of course.
Thank you.
And I don't even like baseball.
Yeah, me neither. I give a shit less, but fucking let's fucking do it. Let's crank it out of the park and throw a 150-mile-an-hour fastball. Like, let's fucking do it, dude. So, but anyway, but I think Hunter is going to be solid second behind his brother here.
Who else would it be besides Chase?
I mean, it would be Chase, but Chase can't fucking hold it together here, and
the consistency is just not there. He was more consistent on the Honda, I feel like.
Yeah. But you weren't going to be the number one guy, so you had to go away.
Yeah.
So here we are. Here we are.
That had to be a tough call to make.
A couple $1 million will change your mind for sure.
Yeah, I bet it would.
Because let's face it, there wasn't budget at Honda for that. They had budget, but not that kind of budget.
Right.
For a third guy. They could not do a $3 million salary, a $2 million salary, and whatever the fuck Hunter's getting paid. Probably $500,000, $500,000 to $750,000.
I bet it's more than that.
Nah, I don't think so.
Really?
AC and Ando are only $800,000, $850,000, from what I understand.
What kind of transparency is there out there on this? Like none? You can't find this info anywhere?
No, you can't find it anywhere. Kitchen was talking about it on Gypsy Tales, supposedly, but I haven't listened to that yet.
I just started listening to that today.
So supposedly he was talking about it, and if you listen to Pulp last week, Stu Baylor was just throwing out fucking numbers for GNC
I heard that
guys.
too.
Like, just fucking, yeah, so this is what the XC1 guys get paid, XC2, this is your bonus structure, this is what you can make if you win a race. And I was like, you can make some money at GNCC, which is amazing because I would have never thought. Although, profitability-wise, for both race series and manufacturers, it's fucking golden.
Oh, yeah.
There's big money in GNCC for that kind of stuff.
For sure.
I don't know. It's not my thing.
I mean,
it's just not my thing. Like, it's fine. I just don't want to race through the woods. Like, hitting a tree to me seems fucking terrible.
It sucks. I can tell you firsthand. It's not fun.
I don't want to do it. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to go race in the mud. I don't want to hit a tree. I don't want any of it. I want to be on a track where chances of me hitting a tree are very slim to none.
I think that's the very foundation of VRM.
Yeah, dude. Vet rider mentality, baby. All right, so speaking of second-tier riders here, Aaron Plessinger goes 5.5 for fourth. I mean, he's right there. He is one of the top 5 dudes.
For sure.
And I don't know, man. I don't have a whole lot to say about him. We didn't see a whole lot of him yesterday, and he's just there.
He's reasonably consistent.
He's taking a
just
step.
Kind of hovering there. Always
a step better than he's been,
cusp.
right?
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
He's a podium threat at any point right now,
For
is
sure.
how I would say.
For
so,
sure.
Justin Cooper goes 4.6 for fifth. And these guys right here, those 5, Jet, Chase, Hunter, AP, and J. Coop, are your top 5 dudes.
Hands
and
down.
you could sprinkle in a couple other guys like we're going to get to here. But for the most part, those are week in, week out, race in, race out, moto in, moto out, your top 5 dudes, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
So, Justin Cooper's riding for a ride at this point because Star's trying to decide if they keep 3. I think Star is really, as much as I like Star, I think they're really stupid if they get rid of him. Now, he's going to command more money next year than what he's getting right now.
Yeah, he could be the future of Star.
He is. The problem being is that obviously we've all heard Tomac is in talks for 2025, which is great. And trust me, they want nothing more than to keep him also, which again, I think is fantastic and it's fine and it's great. But if they let Justin Cooper go, that's a problem.
I think that would be a mistake for sure.
I mean, you're only getting another year, maybe 2 out of Tomac. Like, there's no way he goes more than 2 more years.
And to what level?
I don't know, because I think as uninjured as he's been, now we're looking at a couple in a row here. We'll see when he comes back from this one where we're at. But
do you think the Achilles is really like the same? Does it feel the same
that I
when
think
he
is
rides?
fine. I just think there wasn't
I
enough
wonder.
off season for him to get that fixed and get a boot camp in. And he was
That's true.
somewhat, in essence, racing himself back into shape during Supercross, which is why
That's
he could
true.
go 15 out of 20 minutes and then start to fade. So I do think that if he gets a full off season, I think the 2025 Supercross season looks much, much different as far as him challenging. But
I'm anxious to see what he can do in outdoors again.
I don't
after
think he'll
all
do
that.
shit. I don't think he'll do
That's
shit
what
here.
I kind of wonder. I think the being able to go
I think he's top 5.
35, 37 minutes.
I think he's top 5. They are in shape. He'll lack a bit of base, but I think he'll be able to go like hell for 25 minutes. And at that point, you're spread out enough that, like, as long as he doesn't fall off 10 seconds a lap, he's going to be top 5, 6 guy there.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
So, we'll see. Jason Anderson goes 7.4 for 6th. Could you calm down over there, sir?
Are you
Hey.
okay?
Hey. Yeah, quit having that dream there, partner. Thank you. Ando goes 7.4 for 6th. Okay. This is just Jason Anderson outdoors.
Yeah, he's all over the place, it seems like, but when he's on, man, is he on?
Yeah, when he's ripping, he's ripping. Ooh, can we talk about that little interaction with him and Jet there?
Oh, I thought that was going to get nasty for a second.
Did he really slow up and, like, take him wide?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. But it was foolish. Maybe he didn't realize Hunter was right there. Or was that Chase?
I don't remember.
No, that was Chase.
Okay.
Chase was right there.
Okay.
And, like, he slowed up. I feel like that was a little immature, maybe, to slow up. Just
No,
to
that's
mess
not
with,
immature.
Mess
That's
with
team
Jet.
pride, baby.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But, it was easy pass. 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
2 for 1 special.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's just team pride.
Yeah,
Which is
he doesn't
fine.
care.
No. He doesn't give a shit.
He's
He
just
don't
having
care.
fun.
He knows who he is. He's got his people around him, and fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Direct quote.
But yeah, fuck. End quote. And fuck it. I'm right there with him. Don't give a shit. Fuck you. We'll get by. So
It's fun to watch him ride, though.
yeah, he's cool just because he's like hanging off the back and just ripping jersey, hanging out, all that good shit. So Dylan Ferrandis goes 6.7 for 7th. Yep, just is what it is.
He's just there.
Just is what it is.
Do you think it's a bike thing?
Yeah, 100%. It's not a factory bike. He just doesn't have the resources.
I heard he's getting parts off the Lawrence bench.
Look, there may be some shit falling behind the bench that he's getting. I know for sure. I'm pretty sure I heard he gets a transmission, and I'm pretty sure I heard he's got a front brake caliper. The rest of it, I don't know. I heard there was a possibility he was getting a frame, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to matter. I think he's going to Husky next year. That's what I've heard.
I was thinking maybe Ducati.
I don't know what the Ducati situation is for next year yet. I don't think they're coming until 26.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's going to have to find something for next year. Look, if I'm Dylan, I have to be happy because you are one signature away from not riding this year.
Oh, 100%.
Like quite literally, if that Phoenix team doesn't get co-signed by a couple of people, from what I understand, they don't have salary for you, and you don't ride this year. So you're back to France to hang out, bro.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe he's a little hard to work with.
I've heard things, but then I've also heard he's a really nice guy. I don't know.
I've heard that too, but I mean, just watch the social media. Anytime something little happens, him and his wife are on there on social media commenting.
They aren't scared to say what they think.
Yeah, I feel like they're a little kind of complainers. I'm probably going to get shit for this from the comments.
It's totally fine.
I'm not the biggest Dylan fan, but
it's totally fine. Look, if you're emotional, do not look at the comments after we put the show up, okay?
I probably shouldn't.
No, you probably shouldn't. Although you're not saying anything too controversial, so you'll be all right. But
fair.
Don't worry, they'll come after me. It's fine. But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I can't say this is really anything outside of what I expected from him. I know he thinks he should win races and stuff, but I'm like, bro, yeah, in 2021, okay, but like, you haven't done anything since then. Like, no. and I mean, like, here's the thing. You went off a star because you weren't happy with the bike, but you finished second in points last year. So, like, the only way to go up would be to win, which means you got to beat Jet. And no offense, Dylan, you're not generational.
He's not.
You're good. You're not generational. Now, I do think in his mind he should be beating some of these guys ahead of him, but at the same time, too, it's like, dude, you're 30 now, close to it. Like, I don't know. I don't have a really good answer for it. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, so I don't really know. I can only know what I hear through the grapevine, which isn't a whole lot right now. Right. So we'll see. Maybe at Redbud I'll find him and talk to him. Who knows?
Oh, I'm happy to go with you and grill him.
Hey, Dylan. Do you think if I start it with that, it'll go well? Or
I think we should probably learn a little French first.
Bonjour.
That's not enough.
Je m'appelle Jarvis. A la Motor Aftermath Show. There we are.
Did you take French?
No.
Oh.
That's all I know.
Okay.
I learned that off of like a Tony Hawk video when I was a kid. Je m'appelle Tony Hawk. Anyway, nice. Barsha goes 10-8 for 8th. Knee just fucking hurting. That's what I read on social.
Yeah, but it's still a pretty good ride considering. Top 10 for not feeling so great.
Yeah.
Maybe he shouldn't have put off going to the doctor. Maybe if he found out sooner what was going on with the knee, that... We're guys, that's what we do. But
yeah, it happens. So, Stu goes 9-9 for 9th. This is just what Stu does. McElrath, great day, 8-10 for 10th. He was moving yesterday. I was really impressed with him.
I was super shocked.
Me too. But that's about all I got on him. Grant Harlan, Hard Dog, goes 12-14 for 11th. Okay. Freddie Noren, 19-11 for 12th. Michigan's own Marshall Welton, 18-12 for 13th. Estonia's Harry Koulis, 13-17 for 14th. Going next week because he's contracted to ride Brazilian Arena Cross.
Really?
So he's headed back to Brazil to ride an Arena Cross round. And then if he can get some funding, he'll be back to ride Southwick. But if he doesn't get funding, he doesn't have money to go ride Southwick.
Really?
Yes. But he is trying to ride the rest of them because he wants to make SMX, make some money. That money is starting to come into play here.
For sure. What do you suppose Brazilian Supercross pays?
Arena Cross?
Arena Cross, yes.
$5,000 plus expenses at least.
I mean, he must be getting money just to show up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, $5,000 $5,000 show up probably minimal, plus expenses, which is probably for somebody like him, it's probably a plane ticket, lodging, food, essentially, and then probably gets to keep his winnings too, I would assume. But I've heard Brazilian arena cross is pretty big. Like, I don't know for sure, but I've heard that's a pretty big situation down there. So Brazil's a big country.
It is. I don't know anything about their
Nobody
Moto
does.
community.
Nobody does, other than that's a pretty big situation down there. It's big enough that Enzo Lopes doesn't ride outdoors to go back there and ride.
Really?
Yeah, but he's Brazilian. So his show up money
he's the superstar.
His show up money's probably huge. Now, I have heard some sketchy things about some of those foreign races like that, like where you have to go to the drug lord's house to get paid out afterwards type deal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, JT was telling some stuff about that, about going to some sketchy places to get paid for races he would go do. Because JT back in the day was like, he would race anywhere for money. You want to pay him a couple grand plus expenses to go somewhere, he's in. Travel the world, see it, whatever, which is cool.
Yeah.
But he was talking about like one time going to this drug lord's house to get paid after a race and him just being like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like in some Central American country or some shit. So
wow.
Derek Kelly goes 16-15 for 15th. Okay. Phil Nicoletti goes 11-20 for 16th. And ripping starts. The start guy.
I was super excited. I love Phil. I'm a Phil
dude,
guy for sure.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he is as grumpy as he is. He's always willing to talk to you in the pits. He'll say something grumpy, but then he'll ask you how you're doing, and like he asked Zach what he was riding last time we saw him,
that's
and
awesome.
like that's my 13-year-old.
Yeah.
He's just a cool cat.
I'm gonna miss him when he's gone.
Same.
Jeremy Han goes 15-18 for 17th. Christian Craig still fighting elbow issues, goes 38-13th. He must have gone down that first moto because that's way out of range.
My note here, I had local hero Jace Kessler was in front of Craig for the longest time.
Was he? Well, we'll see where he...
I'm not sure where he finished, but they were 2 laps down, but he was still...
Roman Pope goes 14-22 for 19th, and Scott Verhage from Paris, France, goes 21-16 for 20th. Let's see here. Let's highlight some Michigan people. Yeah, Jace Kessler goes 37-30 for 33rd, and that's it as far as Michigan people go. So that's been your 450 race recap, brought to you by our friends at Gutter Works. Always well hung, just like Justin Barsha there. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on the whole Jet situation. Is this a fumbled opportunity by Hunter and Chase to jump on a wounded Jet? God, look at that mullet flying. AP is just a man amongst boys. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, his male pattern balding, the receding sides there,
dude,
seems to be growing.
It probably is. He's probably gonna end up with the old man like half moon here, and then just have it fucking long and flowing, baby, which is hilarious.
I think you should just go with the skullet.
Dude, look at Jet. Look at Jet put his head down so he doesn't get interviewed. That's hilarious. I saw that yesterday.
I noticed that too.
Oh, he just like puts his head down like, don't talk to me. He was hurting. He was wounded yesterday for sure. So, all right, let's jump in.